How are the Monday Fun Day people doing this morning? Good morning. I'm a little sleepy. Into my first large cup of coffee. This time change is always so tricky. Welcome to your weekly setup. Some of you were like, "Yay, I made it." I'm so glad to see you today. We're going to dig down into week 11, get things going, and get on our way. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. I'm coming to you from the Dallas, Texas area. It's really good to see you. Some of you are sleepy. Yes, sleepy too. Yes. All righty. So we've got a setup this morning. We're going to dig into that mind map. We're going to set up our week. And I found this graphic I thought that really made a lot of sense to me about why our journals are so important and keeping these appointments with ourselves. My life is like that big pile of laundry unless I write it down and get it sorted out and make plans and hang out with the Sonder family for all of that to happen. So, joining us in the event this morning, my co-facilitator is Katie Gideon. Katie's got a lot going on this morning. There's movers at her place. Many of you know that she is in Scotland right now, but she's getting ready to relocate back to the United States. And so she's kind of got a crazy day, but she'll be hanging out with us. So if you have anything going on, just drop that in the chat and she'll be able to answer your question, point you in the right direction, maybe share some links this morning, and then make sure your chat says that you are speaking to everyone. If it has host and facilitate or host and panelists, Katie and I might be the only ones that see it, so we want to make sure that we all communicate with each other. That's how we support one another. Sometimes we can't find the word we're looking for, and so we'll drop that in the chat. Just quick question. How's your self-care right now? You can comment with a little heart. I hope maybe a purple heart means your needs are all being met. If I'm kind of feeling blue, I'm feeling the little blue heart. I'm pretty good, but I could use a little time to recharge. I'm sort of, I'm getting back into schedule. I shared that last week, and then this silly time change. Maybe you're feeling green. Things are okay, but I'll need to make some time for self-care soon. And so you're here and you'll be able to have an opportunity to dig into your journal for that. And I think this little reflection will help us know what direction to take this into. Many of you are already saying the little yellow heart. I'm feeling really stressed out and in need of me time. So as you're sitting with your journal this morning, think about ways that you can incorporate truly some me time, some time to schedule in this week. And then the orange heart is I'm really struggling to take care of my needs and be kind to myself. And sometimes we have, Holly just said, orange heart. Sometimes there are weeks, there are seasons like that. And so we always say, come as you are and take what you need when you are together. So thanks for sharing in the chat. And now that we have that little bit of awareness about what's going on in our own life, we can take that into our setup. So kind of keep that front of mind, what you are needing from the week. A real quick call out to our Women's Month celebration that is this week, and I get to hang out with Meha, and we're real excited about honoring the women in our lives and the legacies that have been left for us, and maybe help us look at how we leave a legacy. I'm really excited about this event. So please make plans to join us on the 11th. This is an exclusive. There is a nominal fee for this. And if you're unable to make it, but you register, then you will be able to obtain the private link to rewatch the event. And then, of course, this is a fabulous community. It's why we're all here. I'm seeing a lot of hellos to each other this morning. We always share these community guidelines to remind ourselves about the spaces that we create when we're hanging out with each other. And so, finally, the last one is super important, and is that reminder about taking good care of yourself. How these times are to elevate your life. And again, that reminder to take what you need and sit back if you need to just tackle things later. I'm looking at our numbers this morning. They're not quite as robust as they usually are. I think some of our Sonder family may be still, kind of waking up with, we're off by now. Our theme this month, of course, is change. And oh, this graphic, right? I love looking at the big picture because sometimes we can really focus in on the things that aren't happening, the things that we feel we're not doing that we should be doing. We always say, don't should on yourself. We have some lessons from this first part of the year, but y'all look how many opportunities we have lying ahead of us. And so I thought that was a really great graphic. Yeah, as we're looking at what change looks like, plenty of time. We're never too old, we're never too late. Every day's a new beginning if we choose to embrace it that way. So yeah, I had to throw that one in the setup this week. It really spoke to me. So this morning we're going to be working on the next part of our change mind map. Is there anybody who's here for the first time? I want to speak to the fact about this mind map, which is your bonus prompt for coming to these weekly setups. We're going to be working on week 2. If you missed last week, we've also got that question for you, but this is that bonus prompt for showing up and making time for your journal today. We'll be looking at our rosebud thorn from last week, and then I've got some examples to show you of weekly setup pages, some great music to hang out with while you set up for the week, and hopefully those examples will inspire you to maybe try something different in your journal. So, that mind map, you may have already started. I'm on the last page of my journal. That's where I've set mine up. I've got my question ready to share with you, but you might want to do this on the definition page, the weekly setup page. You probably have your vibe where you want your weekly setup to, or where you want your weekly mind map to go. We are doing 4 weeks this month, and then we'll have a little bonus prompt at the very end. So we're going to be peeling back. I said that onion, peeling back the layers to look at change in our lives. And last week we looked at how do we typically respond to change. And, I was feeling all sassy saying, I think I'm pretty good at it for the most part, especially if it's my own idea. And then someone brought up the idea of when they change grocery stores up. And I was like, ooh, maybe I'm not so good at change because I do not appreciate that much. But we were thinking about the past changes that we've had and our feelings around that. And then our relationship with change. What does that show us? Are we open to it? Are we closed? Do we have fear that might be one of those saboteurs in our lives? This week, we're focusing on positive changes. And so the prompt is recall a positive change in your life. And this can be a big one, or it can be something very small. Maybe you started a new routine. What led to it and how did it impact you? And then, what challenges did you face as you looked at that positive change? Because remember, we've talked about change is hard, even when it's good. And then what successes can you celebrate? And so there's my mind map. I mentioned I was doing my questions on one of those kind of see-through post-it notes. And then I wrote about my move to Garland, Texas. I grew up on the Gulf Coast of Texas, lived on the Gulf Coast most of my life, and we decided we were not going to do hurricanes in our retirement. And my husband ended up getting early retirement, and I thought, well, if he's not going to work, let's see if I can hang out with him. And so we retired and then started thinking about, do we want to stay down here where there's hurricanes? Neither one of my kids are there, blah, blah, blah. So I wrote about my move to Garland to be closer to my son and said, we knew we didn't want to do hurricanes in our senior season and wanted to be close to grands as well as kids. It was early and a bit unexpected retirement that put the change into high gear. but it was risky. This was the hard part. It was risky to leave a community we had been a part of for 35 years. I miss the home that I raised my kids in. That's a challenge. And I miss my closet in my bedroom and my kitchen because we right-sized and we have a much smaller house. But what do I celebrate about that? Is that I'm so involved in my grandkids' lives, and that keeps me busy and vital. And then downsizing has been an A plus. I can miss those things, but it's just this change meant that the house is easier to manage, all that good stuff. So that's kind of where I landed. That was like my most recent big change. But again, you could do something very small. Maybe you've started a new rhythm and routine that has really brought a lot of value to your life. So let's take a few moments to work on this week's mind map question. And feel free to share in the chat as things come up for you. You might inspire someone else to go, oh, yeah, me too. And then, yeah, we'll get on with the rest of our setup after that. so appreciate y'all's stories as well. Um, Trixie, I love that you guys got married and he had never been married. I have a dear friend who that was the same situation. She remarried someone who had never been married before, and it was a big change. This bachelor who wasn't used to sharing his space. But you did it, and you're so happy. I love that. Highly, I know that Janine has a big move coming up, and yeah, Janine, it's worth kind of my take is that it is worth considering, kind of downsizing, right sizing. We had a two-story house, and we had no business buying another two-story house, right? We're getting older, and knees and all that good stuff. So you can kind of maybe think about your dreams of what your life will look like in 10, 15, 20 years and buy your house based on that. I do love a smaller house. It's much easier to care for. Grandkids just give us that whole new life, like Alice was saying, like, wow, that's my reason to get up. It's certainly my reason to get up every day. And then, Radhika, I love that you traveled the Ren Fair circuit. That's so fun. And yes, oh, Aaron, the day your daughter was born. Oh my goodness. But yes, for sure, for sure. Your mama's heart is full. Love that. Some big moves like when you were young. You're looking back, Gloria is talking about moving to go to grad school, and then she found her people. We never know what's out there when we have these scary changes. Y'all have shared some beautiful, beautiful stories. So be sure that you're scrolling through that chat. I wish I could just talk about all of that just this morning. So anyway, thank you for looking at those positive changes, finding, that's almost like our rosebud thorn reflection. When we look at the thing that's hard, those thorns, and try to find that good thing. So, and speaking of, so we're going to be on page 36 for your rosebud thorn reflection from this past week. And the thorns are those things that were a little problematic or challenges that came your way. And some of your thorns I know are hanging out. They're always there. And so, like health things and that kind of stuff. So, write it down. It's very cathartic just to write those things down and give that power. For us, we had big rain, big, big rain in Texas this week, and more's coming. It's going to rain, 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 and then it's going to completely stop. But we got water in the downstairs part of the cabin, so we ended up road tripping and having to clean, and that's just never fun. Your bud is what you're looking forward to. What's coming your way next week is spring break. And, I've had a request for spend the nights and all that good stuff. So next week's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to that emerging opportunity to hang with my grandkids as a group, but maybe we can do some solo visits, that kind of stuff. So really excited about that. That's my bud. And then the rose is the same thing as my thorn. It's that rain. And I'm so grateful for every single drop that comes from the sky here in Texas. It's just been hot and dry once you get to Central and North Texas. So I'm really, really glad that we've had the rain. I just hope that we have a solution for that cabin. Anyway, yeah, but I just hate to curse the rain with our drought situation. I worry about the water in Texas, like what do we look like in 10, 20 years? So I'm grateful for all the rain. I'll stop talking. I want to know, what are you celebrating? What were your roses from last week? What are the buds that you're looking forward to? And where could you use a little more support for those thorns? Drop those in the chat, and then we'll get on with the rest of our setup. Oh, Carla, when you wrote that your husband is a sloth and that's your thorn, girl, we need to have coffee. Yeah, I hear you. I'm sorry. That's a hard thorn. Because yeah, I get you. Thanks y'all for sharing. Yeah, my husband's on the Enneagram. He's a nine, and that's like an unhealthy nine is sloth behavior. So, and then my unhealthy behavior is I just get more riled up. So, anyway, yeah, thank you for working on that. Share Veronica put the little sloth emoji in the chat. I love that. Although there are times I think that, yes, an unhealthy nine. He is, yeah. Anyhow, yeah, thank y'all for sharing. And isn't it fun to leave this wintering season behind? Many of you are talking about just noticing the signs that spring is coming. Like you may still have snow, but you're noticing the signs of spring coming. So that's always a great, I mean, that's a literal bud, but it can also be, a very meaningful bud for us. So I'm celebrating those really great things with y'all. Let's try to let those good things help us get through the things that aren't so great. So now I want to invite you to let's set up week 11. Y'all remember last week I set up week 11 on week 10. So I'll be working on my week 10 pages today. But we are literally on week 11, which is pages 40 and 41. And here are the things of the week. I've been pulling these lately. Today's Barbie Day, y'all, and it's also napping day. So if you need it, take it. We've got some Johnny Appleseed Day is on the 11th. Good Samaritan Day is on the 13th. Wouldn't that be a lovely thing to observe in some way? Do a little random act of kindness out there. And then don't forget about Pie Day on March 14th. We always celebrate, we always get pie on that day. I guess that's what happens when you marry an engineer. It's a big day in the life of our family. And Kansas Day, what Kansas became part of our union on the 15th. So if you're a Kansas gal, there you go. So lots of things coming up. I'm going to share this graphic again when we do that second part of our setup too. So if you want to grab something for that second half of our setup, you'll see this graphic again. Yeah, every day is Barbie Day for sure. And then we've just got some fun. I always love this graphic with the alliteration days because it can bring just a little whimsy to your day if you decide to set you have a magical Monday instead of, oh, Monday, just a way to frame that out. So here's a couple of examples from Sonder family. Wanted to just share. I always like to do, our little show and tell moments. And you can see that we've got some goals, and the one on the left, it's a mind, body, spirit. So they're using those categories to plug in what their goal is going to be for the week. And then, gosh, look at the list, the weekly to do. Listen to your body, just one good sticker to sort of guide the way. That mindset. Um, we've got some habits and activities. It doesn't look like they're going to be setting goals. They've already X'd out Thursday and Friday because they're not going to be doing that working at their friend's house. The one over there on the right, the to-dos is a to-do list. You can see their goals. One, two, three, healing, recharging, and regulating my nervous system. So really focusing on that word of the week for being peaceful. And right, the colors are great, but also that reminder. Oh, Aaron, I'm sorry, you have to leave. It's being recorded if you want to go grab the rest of it later, but you're going to miss all these amazing people in the chat. But have a good day. The habit and activity spaces, you can see they are going to track 3 things this week. They're setting a goal to do each one of those things 4 times. And so they've used that beautiful washi tape to mark out that very bottom part. So love that. So I always like to, put a couple of filled out pages for us to be inspired by. We're going to start with how do we want to feel this week? Let me know. Start dropping that in the chat. What are you thinking you need from the week? Do you need a little fun in the sun? Do you need to do duality, like you need more of something and less of something, like the example you see there? It's okay to have a week where you say, I just want to feel okay. I love that little snail over there. And then here's a little bit of a word cloud to maybe inspire the word that you're looking for the week, or a statement. You could throw a sticker there, a jump start. You need to feel a jump start to your system. I love that, Ann. Especially with this time change, it can be hard. I always remember, when I was teaching and we had this time change, that the kids their bodies were so off, and their food patterns made them crazy. So trying to always be respectful of that internal clock that's going on. But we've got some great words. What do you need from the week? Hopeful, grateful, determined, flexible, responsible, compassionate, discerning. I love that, Kendry. You must have some decisions going on in your life this week. You're trying to make sure that you're keeping that good head on your shoulder. You just need a new brain. I hear you, Amanda. And then Amanda C says rested and focused. So yeah, let us know what's going to go in this space to guide your week. And yep, sticking with the word of the year. Thanks for that call out, Gloria. That's a really good thing. Mine is vitality. So maybe I just need to be vital this week. Motivated. We're going to take those words now into those three major goals. Now, you can have one major goal, or you can make this space your to-do list, or you can just throw something in there like grow through what you go through and let that be your goal for the week. A lot of folks will go check those intentions. We're now, going to hit the halfway point of March at the end of this week, which is weird, but go see what your intentions are. Can they inform your goals for the week? That monthly habit tracker. Of course, we're really looking at change. Are there things you need to change? Maybe that guides your goals. Some no goals. I have a really great little graphic of someone who set no goals. So they set goals, but they were goals that they were saying no to something. And then, of course, that personal challenge or some categories to plug in. And I want to shout out to the start, stop, and continue space, because that's where we said we wanted to start something new. We wanted to stop something we were doing, and there were some things we wanted to continue. So can those inform this space this week? And then again, like Gloria, share that, think about your word of the year, or did you do a vision board? Go check in with that. So all of those tools that you have can really inform how you set up this week. We've got a little mini tracker for these goals on the left. You can see the one in the middle is a little bingo board. So instead of setting three goals, these are some things, they're kind of grown-up things that need to happen that is involving, laundry, going to a Sonder Social, taking care of yourself, care that way, reading, doing some chores. So, a little bit of everything there. And then the one over there on the right, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So, writing that reminder around that space is just lovely, a lovely idea. Again, how will your goals support the way you want to feel? So there's, again, some categories: frog, fresh, fun, mind, soul, body, and then spiritual health, mental health, physical health. And the one over there on the right, I love that. My goal number one, my spiritual health, and it says it allows me to have a happy, joyful, abundant life. Goal number two, mental health. If I'm focusing on that as a goal, it allows me to have a happy, joyful, productive life while I endure the system of things, whatever that system was. So, just kind of writing a little bit more to it. Um, yes, I always love when y'all share in Sonder Club, so thank you. Here we go. We got that little tracker one again. I guess I really like that. Main character energy over there. Love the big number 1, 2, 3, doing a little doodle there. The reminder in the middle there, progress, not perfection. And I love the body one in the middle. She's got mind, body, spirit, and then her body is, less eating junk food and more eating healthy and more moving purposefully with the little arrows. So just some fun ways to set that up. And then we've got some repurposing. So I find this space to be very beneficial for doing like rhythms and routines. We love, love, love the grids that are on that page. And so maybe you could do like a little, grid of rhythms and routines. I did that last week. I'm going to do that again because I'm still trying to get that. Okay, and Jennifer's talking to her system. Perfect. Okay, thank you for clarifying that for us, Jennifer. It's part of her faith and her journey that she does within her faith journey. Her faith walk. We got lots of ways to repurpose. Maybe you're just wanting to add some new recipes this week to change things up. So write the names of the 3 recipes you're going to try. Create that mini bingo board. Throw stickers here. How are you embracing this transition from wintering to our springtime? And then let's look at those weekly to-dos as well. And here are some great examples of how the goals inform the to-dos. So you can see they're all directly related. Instead of to-dos, the one on the top is calling this the weekly intentions. So a statement about how they intend to meet those goals for self, home, and productivity. And then we've got, I love this, the self-care with spoons. I threw this graphic in because, whoops, we haven't talked about spoons in a while. And the spoon theory is something that comes from the community of folks who need a little extra self-care because of their health needs. And so, there are many health factors that can contribute to maybe not feeling 100% most days. And so the idea is you start your day off with 10 spoons and then all the things. So, this person for their to do, they've written in there, remember your spoons. So, really, this theory can speak to all of us. If you have 10 spoons that you're given every day, to use up spoonfuls is going to cost you something, or to do things or will cost you a certain amount of spoons. So, if it's a good day, waking up, getting dressed, taking meds, and maybe sitting and watching a movie, that's like a 1 spoon activity, those things. Um, but if you're having a really hard day, light housework could cost you 3 spoons, right? If you're having a great day, it may only cost you 1 spoon. And so, it's really about checking in with yourself, giving yourself this bank of 10 spoons and kind of thinking about, what does it cost me? Because it does. Everything you do, positive or negative, costs you something in terms of your energy levels and your mindset and your emotional level. And so this can be a really, really great way to frame out these goals and these to-dos that we can all benefit from, not just those who might be going on a health journey, although I think that's probably the population that it really serves the best. But we have to remember we have this limited amount of headspace and energy and emotional. Yeah. And Katie dropped a great little link there about the spoon theory. And I don't have a book recommendation, but if somebody does, please do that. But I just think it's really yeah, I think it's really look like yeah, I feel like I woke up with just two spoons. So it's again, it's this idea about, how much you have and then what it costs to do things. And every day's a little bit different. We wake up and we have these very vital days, and then we all can relate to days that we just don't feel like we got a lot of spoons. So take, yeah, look into that. Do a little Googling on the spoon theory and think about how it can apply to your life and your self-help. So wanted to speak to that today. Because again, whether you have a chronic illness or not, I think it is that good reminder that we have limits. So been chatting a lot. I'm going to put on a little bit of music while you work on your goals and your to-dos, and I'll go back through all these slides. So grab a screenshot if you saw something that applies to you or that you want to try to do. And if you need to go back to something, let me know, and then we'll get on with the rest of our setup. All righty, keep working on this section. I did want to do a call out because Beth Ann shared that she was going to look into the spoon theory for her granddaughter, who is kind of going through some stuff right now. And I wanted to, that was a really good call out because when we have the understanding of the spoon theory, it can help us give people in our life some grace if, we consider, well, maybe they are out of spoons and that's why they're slothy. But it can really help you with others' perspectives. Like maybe they're just out of spoons. And so really, really appreciate y'all. And Cheyenne, I'm so interested in making those two plans about, you have a good day schedule and then a tough day or a bad day schedule. Like if it's just not a good day, you have a plan in place to accommodate those days that may not be feeling so great. And so I love that option. If you land on something, please drop that in Sonder Club because I think we could all benefit from seeing something like that. And just that reminder that, yeah, we're entitled to have those days that aren't so great. So, anyway, thank y'all for working on that. While you're finishing that up, we'll go drop down to this habit and activity tracker. And of course, these can be some of the things from your main habit wheel if you want. You can see how some folks have set this up. This very first one on the left is a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So they've kind of gamified it, but they are also circling the days that they want those things to happen. I also love the one next to it that just says they're having an activity for the week is hydrate. And so, if you're having trouble, I remember how last week I said I fill up my water bottle, and then one of my next habits was going to be to drink said water bottle because I was okay filling it up and then I'd not drink it. So, if that's like a priority goal, just put one thing here to track. And that reminder, you don't have to have a ton of all these lines filled out. You need to take what you need for this space. Here's some habit tracker ideas if you're looking to add something new or try something new. Let's finish that up we'll finish this page up by that habit tracker, and then we'll move on to the next page. Amanda, you made me laugh, not calling you out. It's just we are kindred spirits, more like. So let's now jump over to this second part of our setup. We're going to be taking a look at all these spaces, the meal plan, mind body health plan, shopping list, and the I am loving space. And here's a couple of examples of people's setup. I'm going to show you lots of different ways you could set any of these spaces up. So we won't really be breaking it down into, necessarily this is what you can do in the meal plan. You may see something in a meal plan, but maybe you put that on your shopping list and you repurpose that space. You're always invited to use the spaces just as they are printed. So for example, the one on the right here, we've got, the meal plan for most of the week there. And then we've got the mind body health plan is focused on physical health. And then the shopping list has been repurposed to like a really strong affirmation. The one on the left, the meal plan is going to be where the affirmations go for the week. And then they're doing kind of this idea of looking for the ta-das or the highlights or the glimmers, those happy moments. That's going to go in their mind body health plan. Great way to use that space. And then shopping list for them is where they put their quote of the week. So I'll show you a bunch of stuff and y'all can, you know, just put things where you want them to go and be. So there's that graphic again. I think this graphic's fun to incorporate in this space, or maybe, you celebrate your week and you pick one thing and then you flip that page, to your weekly spread and perhaps, whatever's going on in the week goes in that one thing spot, like, meatball day or napping day. Um, so yeah, we'll look at that graphic again. Here are some ways to repurpose that meal plan. And Cassie posted this in Sonder Club, and I really wanted to share it with y'all. I thought it was so sweet. Her meal plan section, she leaves blank. It gets repurposed, and her husband draws her some little art. And I know that some of y'all also leave a space. Maybe your partner will write a little note to you. So maybe that shopping list becomes your partner's space. But I thought that was so cute. She said, scenes from a concerning refrigerator. But just, that's just a sweet little connection moment. She says, in return, I leave positive affirmations for him in his office. So I just loved that connection. So maybe you do this with, maybe your kid, this would be a really great way to communicate back and forth with teenagers. Drawings, little affirmations, little sweet words. So maybe you leave a space in your journal and say, I would really appreciate a little note from you or whatever. So anyhow, love that. Love that. Lots of ways you can repurpose this space. The you see the meal plan there, BLD, breakfast, lunch, dinner. So they're going to use it as their meal plan. All righty. But really wanted to shout out for that because that was a really sweet point of connection. My spring cleaning list is here this week. You see that on the left. We see one good thing, self-care plan. We always love the meal plan for the soul, those little mini journal prompts. Or the one like you see way over there. That's a really old one because you see breakfast, lunch, and dinner printed out there. But they're going to do, what's my favorite song this week? What's my favorite moment? A quote or a thought, a highlight. So kind of this looks like a weekly practice. So love that. Mind Body Health Plan. We can throw a great sticker there that's going to make us feel great. Maybe some highlights of the week, like you see on the bottom left there. The Mind Body Health Plan in the middle to upper middle has I'm going to journal this way. I'm going to do these exercises, and this is how I'm going to unplug before bed. The one below that is an old one of mine, but I'm going to lean into that this week, and it is embracing my senses for the week. So Monday, I embrace sight and sound by my hummingbirds and listening and seeing. Touch was on Tuesday, taste was on Wednesday, Thursday was smell, Friday was sound, taste, touch, sights, everything. We had big family dinner that day. So just kind of each day a reflection based on my senses, just as that mindfulness. We've got self-care me time. And then a little chart there of some fun things to do so you can always check in with self. Okay, so here's some graphics from last week that you see. Self-care for spring. I'll go back through these. The 7 types of rest. Any of these can be incorporated here. Here's our shopping list repurposing. And we've got, some fun bingo boards, quotes of the week. Love the shopping list. It's just how do I want to be? I want to be kind. I want to be quiet. I want to be slow. Some habits to change your life. There's two slides of these because there's 12 of them, but this is really focusing on moving, mindset, that kind of thing. So there's two graphics for that. And then little solo date ideas. Spend some time with yourself. There's that March reading list that I shared last week. And we've got the spring cleaning challenge. We're done wintering. Let's get going and embrace this new month. Or maybe you're going to do the photo of the day challenge, which I love that seeking and intention with what I'm looking for in the day. We've got spring self-care, how to fill your own cup. Here is our 31 days of becoming unrecognizable. Silk and Sonder. This was on the Instagram and Facebook page. So perhaps some of these things will inspire that page. A gratitude challenge. So maybe you begin that. A way to get some energy, get some from the Energy Givers graphic. And then finally, what are you loving? And you can drop that in the chat while we work on this page. And I'll go back through all of these and then we'll close out our time together. So hopefully some of these graphics will inspire some of these spaces and let us know, what you plan to do on this page. I am so grateful that you joined us today, this Monday, this second Monday of March. We are going to have a good week of change and of, being intentional with what we've put in our journal for the week. Remember, this was recorded, so you'll be able to grab some, go back, and if you miss something, you'll be able to look there. And I'll keep a lot of these graphics in for next week's setup as well. Katie and I loved, loved, loved starting our week with you. Please be sure to share your setup in Sonder Club. And if you're doing something new, let us know, because then we're going to ask you, well, how did it work for you? We'd love to see that. And then again, just that reminder of this wonderful celebration of women this week on the 11th. There is, Katie will drop that link in the chat right there. And then here's our songs from our morning. Friends, have a fabulous week. I'll see you soon.
Some kind of magic happens late at night when the moon smiles down at me and bathes me in its light. I fell asleep beneath you in the tall blades of grass. When I woke, the world was new. I never had to ask. It's a brand new day. The sun is shining. It's a brand new day. For the first time